Welcome to the program, everyone. We start with something that's good for you. Support comes from ZBiotics. I got to be honest with you. I like a good drink with friends, but I don't like waking up the next morning feeling like my head stayed out all night. That's why I use ZBiotics pre-alcohol. It's the world's first genetically engineered probiotic made by real scientists, and it actually helps your body break down the byproduct that makes you feel rough the next day. First time I tried it was before dinner with friends. Took ZBiotics as my first drink of the night, enjoyed myself, and the next morning I woke up feeling clear, hydrated, and ready to go, ready to do the show. It just works. So if you're going out, especially during the holidays, bring ZBiotics with you, okay? So go to zbiotics.com/lemon and get 15% off of your first order with the code LEMON, LEMON. They also have a 100% money-back guarantee, so there is no risk. That's zbiotics.com/lemon and use the code LEMON so that you can be fresh the next day after a night out with a couple of cocktails. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Lemon Live at 5. Thank you for joining us. We're extremely happy that you're here. We're here on time. Can you believe it? Because I'm always a little bit late, but I'm not, because we have a guest on that you're going to want to hear from. So likes, thumbs up, you know the drill. It affects the algorithm. More people become aware of our conversation. So obviously the big story that is going on for this entire week has been the Epstein files and the release of some of those documents starting on yesterday, on Wednesday, on Thursday. So let's talk about it. I want to bring in now, or was it on Wednesday? I think it was on Wednesday. Anyway, I want to bring in now Michael Wolff, who is been reporting on this and has been mentioned in the Epstein files. He has graciously agreed to come on. Michael,
the star of the emails at the moment, until they become bigger stars. But right now,
I'm glad. It's good to see that you have I should say it's interesting to see that you have a sense of humor about it, because, you've been kind of getting raked over the coals a little bit. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, not my first time to the rodeo. I mean, it's been an interesting pattern over so much of what I've done, that you do it, and then the criticism is you got too close. He wants to be an insider, blah 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 blah. But usually I find everybody actually likes what I come out with, and I think I have the right to insist at this point on the fact that nobody else wanted to talk about this. Nobody else wanted to talk about the connection between Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump. I am the one who has been banging on about this, and finally here we all are on the same page.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about people saying that you crossed the journalistic line and all of that somehow you were sort of colluding or giving advice to Jeffrey Epstein, and it was inappropriate?
I feel it's from many people, it is disingenuous. How do you think people get stories? How do you think people get into rooms where other people don't get in? And most of my colleagues have not gotten into this room. Actually, they often don't get into the rooms that I get into. How do I get into those rooms? Do I do it with a certain amount of, shall we say, ingratiation? Yes, I would say the formula is to suck up and spit out, because I don't think that there's anyone who has ever said that when I write something, it's overly nice, to say the opposite.
Well, you have not been, I think you've been hard on Donald Trump in your books, obviously, right? The Fire and Fury, and it's not like you've gone easy on him, and it's not like you've gone easy.
No, I mean, I think we can go further. I think I have been one of the steadiest critics. I have been, again and again, 4 books at this point. And I think my view, which also comes from being an insider's view. Remember, so Fire and Fury, I got into the White House in the first Trump administration for 7 months, sitting there. How did I accomplish that? Well, because I'm good at this job, and I was able to come out with an account, really the first account, an account that I'd probably argue set the tone for much of our understanding of the Trump White House.
So are you saying that people are seeing how the sausage is made and they don't like it or understand it? They just want the sausage.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose, yeah. I mean, I'm also saying, and trying to level a level of criticism at my, I suppose, critics, or at my colleague critics, that there is a story here that other people should have gotten. This is a profoundly important story, the connection between Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump. And it has taken a very long time for people to focus on this, especially the traditional media. And actually, I'll make another point, which I think is interesting, is that this has been a story of an internet story, a story of social media. That's where this story has gotten its legs, partly, and obviously I've been involved with that. But the story has been muted at best in traditional media outlets, the media outlets that you and I know so well.
Why do you think that is, Michael?
Well, I would say two things. And again, the background, so I spent this time with Jeffrey Epstein beginning in 2014, then into when Trump began to run for president, and until Epstein died in 2019. And in this, while I did this, I spoke to Epstein on the record. I have, something on the order of 100 hours of audio recordings with Jeffrey Epstein. Those audio recordings over the past 6 years or so have been offered to virtually every significant media outlet and streamers. And also book publishers too. I mean, obviously, I am primarily a writer, and anyway, no takers at all. So, what's the reason? I think probably twofold. I think there is this idea of the ick factor. Jeffrey Epstein is too vile to let him be a witness to any. His credibility is something that the traditional media has been unable to cope with. That's probably part of it. But the second part of it is they're afraid. They're afraid of Donald Trump. They're on eggshells about dealing with him, reporting about him. Trump has said all along, this is a hoax. He continues to say this, obviously. Never met the guy, passed them once in the halls, that kind of thing. And people, God knows why, because we ought to know that whatever he says, that the opposite from whatever he says is probably the truth. Nevertheless, they're afraid. I mean, certainly, in the second administration, every major media organization that crosses him gets sued.
Michael, I want to play something from a journalist, and just to get your response. And this is Tara Palmieri. She posted.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
You don't want to? Why not?
First thing, I think she's incompetent and an asshole, and I'm going to pass on that.
Okay. Well, she's saying that you should release all of.
Yeah, I know. She doesn't know, and she's just a blah 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 blah. Forget about it. Let's not go there.
Okay. Well, let me ask you: do you think that you should? Is there information that you should release? You believe?
I have been the only one who has been releasing information. This is all fueled. Remember, so before the election, I released a set of recordings that that had Jeffrey Epstein talking in detail about his relationship with Donald Trump. I actually expected, okay, the world is going to pay attention now. Crickets. And again, I mean, I've been on, I had a great deal of problems when my book about the campaign came out in February of this year. Great deal, I mean, the book went on the bestseller list and all that. There's no complaints, but it was almost impossible to get on television to talk about this book, and partly because Donald Trump was scaring everybody, was suing everybody. So I went on to social media and with some care. I mean, I had always in the past regarded social media as not a serious thing, but I sat down and have spent a considerable amount of time on it, with an enormous, and most of it often about Trump and Epstein, and with an enormous response to that. And as we've talked about before, the First Lady recently threatened to sue me for what I had said about her relationship to Epstein, and then I turned around and sued her for the express purpose of being able to get her under oath and all of the people who knew Trump, who knew the Trumps in that period, and to explore their relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. So this idea that I have not released information comes from people who themselves have no information. They just can blow smoke on this because they've done no reporting. They were not in the room. I was in the room.
Well, look, I wanted you to finish your statement, but I was taken aback a bit about what you said about Tara. I don't have that relationship with her. She's not here to defend herself. I don't think that she's an asshole, but those are your words.
Those are my words.
Yeah. Okay. So do you think that you should, do you think folks are saying that you should be subpoenaed by Congress or whatever? Do you agree with that?
Well, I think it's a terrible thing for you to say as a journalist that a journalist should be subpoenaed. I really take exception to you, and I'm going to I'm not saying that. I'm going to let you but you're repeating this now, so I'm going to let you reconsider that and say that would be a terrible thing if you, a journalist, were subpoenaed by Congress. So I'm going to let you say that. Well, I'm sure you believe it.
No, I mean, but if I was subpoenaed by Congress, I would go and speak to them. I mean, but it would also depend on the situation, Michael. Let me finish.
Then you would
it would depend on the situation for what I would be. If I had information that Congress needed, then yes.
Well, I mean, I have a lot of information. That's what I do. But I am a journalist. I would resist any effort by any governmental body to make me compromise my sources or to
that's a whole nother thing, Michael.
Well,
I'm not saying that you should compromise or give up your sources. You should protect your sources.
It's not yes. So that's why we don't appear before Congress.
Okay. Is there anything, before we move on, is there anything that you would have done differently, you think?
Not a thing. And what would you think that I should have done differently? I mean, now I'm on the hot seat, and you're fundamentally accusing me of something. I don't know what you're accusing me of, but you seem to be accusing me. Just tell me.
Stand by.
What would
I'm not
you think?
accusing you of anything.
Okay, well, what would
you
think that I should have done differently, or that I might consider having done differently? Just tell me.
I don't know, but I would. I mean, it's by giving advice.
Don, if you begin a question by saying, "What would you have done? Do you think you should have done differently?"
I said, no, that's not what I said. I said, is there anything you would have done differently? And the answer is yes or no.
No,
That's
you
it.
must have had something in mind that I
I did
might have
not.
done
I did
differently. I don't
not,
know.
but I'll think
We've
about it now. I actually have not.
We've talked a lot online and offline. You've never asked me before if there is anything that I might have done differently.
No, I don't think there's anything that's not. Well, I mean, Michael, I'm not going to ask you every single question as we've talked offline. I told you that
I know. I'm just saying, if there is something that you think that I should have done differently, then just ask it, and I'll say yes or
okay.
no. But
Let
I
me
would be
let
curious
me think
about
about
what
the
you
email.
think that might have been done differently.
If you had could go back and change it, would you have given him advice on how to get
No.
leverage over Donald Trump?
First thing. What? Let's let's talk about the nature of this so-called advice. You know, I talk about the media business all the time. You talk about the media business all the time. It is our chatter in trade. This is what we talk about. This is, this is what I talked about with Epstein, or what I would talk about with you. And the point about what to talk about with Epstein was, you know, you got to make a relationship with somebody. That's how you get in the room. That's how you get the story. The fact that I talked about the media business, come on. This is like of no harm and negligible meaning, in fact.
Okay, Michael, listen. I've known you for a long time. We've known each other. I feel like I'm not trying to attack you. As I feel like that I'm being, pretty respectful, and I feel like you're awfully defensive about a question that I
Well,
just asked you, and I don't
I
think you
mean,
should feel that way.
I mean,
I know that I can't
I'm,
tell you how to feel.
I'm partly defensive, if that's what I am, because we had a discussion before this. You're now putting me in the position that Piers Morgan put you in after telling me that we wouldn't have this discussion, because I said, Jesus, I'm just really, I have nothing more to say. I'm tired of this. And I also feel that you're being disingenuous. You know how journalism works. You've been around. You are a journalist. You've been around journalists your entire career. You know what it takes to get inside track on a story.
And
And the process of, you've booked guests endlessly. How did you book those guests? By, most often, really sucking up to them. You got to get the relationship before you can get the story. So that's why I'm not, I'd say I'm not defensive. I'm irritated.
all
Come
right.
on, you're not a numbskull, and the score, and what we do, and you're just now pandering, really.
Okay, Michael. Okay. I imagine it's been, you should be irritated. I respect that you're irritated. I understand that. It was considering the last couple of days. But what we talked about, I said to you, I have to ask you a question about it. And you said, okay, you're a friend. Go on. You
No,
can talk
I
about
didn't.
it.
We can read this.
And I said to you, Michael, I've been defending you because
I do not want you to be disingenuous.
I'm not being disingenuous then.
Yes, you are.
I'm not accusing you of anything.
No, that's not what disingenuous means. Disingenuous means that you know the answer to this, and
I
you're
don't. That's why I'm
pretending,
asking you.
and
I'm
you
not.
pretending that you don't. You know how journalists get stories. I just went through this, so I won't repeat myself. But the relationship that we establish with sources is a complicated one, and I guess if you pulled the lens back, it would be in its details, the making of the sausage, a little embarrassing, but that's irrelevant to what you get from it. Do you get the story? Do you get an inside view, which I've supplied, of Jeffrey Epstein's life, his relationship to a whole set of people, not to mention, most fundamentally, Donald Trump?
Okay, Michael, listen to me. Give me a moment. I understand what you're saying, and I agree with everything that you have said right there. And I don't mean any disrespect. I look at you differently as a book writer who's trying to extract information from people. Then you have to gain their confidence in order to get that information. So I understand that. I'm not expecting from, but hold on, let me finish then. I'm not expecting from your book or anything, some big J journalism. That's not what this is. So that's the conversation that we had. I don't think I'm being disingenuous with you. And I don't think I'm not putting you on the spot. I was actually ready to move on. That was my question, to move on to something else. That's one of those. And finally,
great.
All right. So that was and finally, is there anything that you would have done differently? No, I would not have done anything differently.
Okay, but again, and let me say this, by asking the question, the assumption is that there might have been, that you probably think that there are areas that I should have done differently, and I just want to know what they are, and then I can say, oh no, that was.
Yeah. The only thing that I would even think of is the advice thing, and that's it. I mean, I have not dwelled on that much of what you have spoken about. I'm not reporting in-depthly on this story. So that's it. That's it, Michael. Okay. All right. Are we cool? All right. Cool. So let's move on. I want to talk to you about, let's see, there was something else that I wanted to discuss with you. About Donald Trump's reaction over the last couple of days, by saying that this is a Democratic hoax and trying to get people to move on and away from this story. Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana was on yesterday saying, I don't think that this story is going to go away at all. So do you think this is going to go by the wayside? Does this have the power to end Trump?
Well, two things. I'm always amazed by how much Donald Trump is able to distract from things that would have otherwise felled other politicians. But this story, the Epstein story, keeps coming back. He distracts from it, and then it comes back again and again and again. And I think I mean, I have always thought and have said that the reason is this story is fundamental to understanding Donald Trump, and that people realize that. That's why they want answers. What happened here? What is this? This is, they were friends. And if they were friends, what did that involve? I mean, these are questions that not only don't go away, they really nag. So I think it's not going away. I think he will figure out something to distract from this, and then it will come back. Will it bring him down? I've spent so much time waiting for so many things to bring down Donald Trump, so many things that would seem evidently ready to bring him down. And here he is. So I'm not going to go, I'm not going to make that bet.
Have you ever weighed in on this possibility of a third term for Trump?
Yes. And I have two views. The first,
before you answer that, I want to, can I play Steve Bannon for you? This is brand new, and then you can respond to it.
Oh, of course. I love Steve.
All I'm saying about Ted Cruz, whether you think Ted Cruz is great, because listen, the constitutional conservative guys are going to get Ted Cruz is not MAGA. Ted Cruz never lifted a finger on the invasion of the southern border. All my point is he's a classic Republican, but he's already started his 28 campaign because they know that, hey, once Trump's gone, the Raheem Kassams and the Roger Kimballs and the Steve Bannons, this is all just all flotsam and jetsam.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I was talking to someone else recently. I don't think that's going to happen myself, Ted Cruz in 28, but I think it's going to be J.D. Vance or possibly Marco.
But producers, does he go on to say he doesn't think Trump is going to be?
We'll see.
Is going to have a 2028 run.
Harold Wilson said a week is a long time in politics, and 3 years is.
I think he goes on to say that
eternity.
he doesn't
So,
think it's going to be a
Hold it.
2028 now.
About 28. First off, we have to
Here
get
it
by
is.
28.
So
Here it is. Here it is. Here it is.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
ain't talking 28.
Yes.
But however, I will tell anybody in that administration, JB, Marco,
Bannon
Yeah.
is saying
If
that
you're not-
now
if you're
because,
not blowing the
because a
tech
couple of
bros,
weeks ago
right
he
now,
was
they're-
he
Okay.
was declaring
Let's hear
a
Michael.
third term.
And yeah, now I don't think he is. And I'm wondering if you think that these emails play in these documents play into that.
I don't. I mean, I think that the issue is that there is no legitimate way for Trump to have a third term. So he's not going to have a third term. And yet, having said that, the problem with authoritarians, as Trump is, or certainly is becoming, is that they break so many rules and make so many enemies that the only way they themselves can avoid retribution is to continue to hold power. So that's the exceptional, the exceptional end of the road situation. But in the normal world, no, I think that he will. He can't run for a third term. He won't run for a third term. What he will, however, do is whoever the Republican nominee is, he will undermine that person because he wouldn't be able to tolerate someone else, another Republican, being the president, and he will return to Mar-a-Lago still as the leader of the Republican Party and the king of Mar-a-Lago, and continue to act as the once and future president, which he will continue to do until he departs this vale of tears sooner, we hope, rather than later.
Anything that you didn't say, you can sack me out or whatever.
All good.
Michael Wolff, thank you. I appreciate it. Michael Wolff, everyone. That was interesting. Okay, Michael Wolff is joining us, and then joining us next will be Charlie Warzel. He's the host of the Atlantic's brand new Galaxy Brain podcast, among other things, and he will join us in just a moment. Charlie, you there?
I'm here. Hello.
Charlie, give me 2 minutes, a word from our sponsors, and then we'll talk about that and other things, okay? 2 minutes. Today's show is brought to you by Graza. If you know me, you know I love good olive oil. I love to cook, love good olive oil, and Graza is my go-to now. The holidays are here, and Graza is honestly one of the easiest gifts that you can give. Everybody cooks something, and everyone gets excited when they open really fresh olive oil. Graza uses single origin olives that are picked, pressed, and bottled in the same season, so it tastes incredible. Their gift sets are great too. The dinner party pack comes with wine, cooking, and finishing oils, a corkscrew, and even Evo potato chips. It is the whole mood in one box. It's a vibe. The Duo gift set is also a favorite. The sizzle for cooking, the drizzle for finishing. So head over to graza.co/Don and use the code Don for 10% off. It is a gift people will actually use and actually love. Support for the show comes from Lean. You know, I've seen every fad diet there is. People lose weight and then they gain it back. And I only recently learned that this cycle can actually harm your heart, your liver, and even your blood sugar. Doctors call it weight cycling, and half the country does it. Lean is not a shot. It is a non-prescription supplement made by doctors, and the science behind it is solid. It helps keep your blood sugar steady. It helps control your appetite, and it helps your body burn fat for energy, which is how you keep the weight off. If you want to support while you eat better and move more, Lean can help you do that. Go to takelean.com and use the code LEMON for 20% off of your first order. That's TAKELEAN.com and use the code LEMON. Thank you to our sponsors. Back now to Don Lemon and Mr. Charlie Warzel. He's the host of the Atlantic's brand new Galaxy Brain podcast. And on it, he tries to make sense of the online fire hose that is our information ecosystem right now. New episodes released every Friday. Charlie will be joined by different guests to ask big questions about the intersection of online culture and human behavior. I can't wait to be on this program, Charlie.
That's right. That's right. Anytime. Open invite.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm great. Let me just say that I don't take anything personally, especially, Michael. I understand Michael's had quite a week. So, go ahead, Michael. You know what I'm saying? What did you think of the week? Because you've been paying attention to this and you've been writing about Epstein, and I'm sure you know Michael's emails and all that stuff.
Yeah. I just published a piece over at the Atlantic about going through all these emails and what I sort of believe it to signify, which is essentially say there in the headline there, it's like if QAnon meets Veep, right? Because the idea behind something like QAnon, right, was this idea of this like global pedophile cabal that like used secret code words and went all the way to the top echelons of the government and was like extremely, like a lot of conspiracy theories, extremely hyper competent, right? Like these people are doing absolutely horrific, horrible things and covering it up all along the way and, behaving badly, but also like kind of almost impressively, right? And conspiracy theories are meant to make sense of the world and give it a structure that it usually doesn't have, right? And oftentimes they're wrong and completely false. But in the case of this, what we do have is we have a lot of our nation's elites interacting with, fawning with, over, asking favors of, trying to get dirt from this extremely well-known alleged child sex trafficker, and they are not behaving in a hyper competent way. They are bumbling. Everyone looks extremely unimpressive. It is just like I found Jeffrey Epstein's emails are rambling. They're like barely written in English. There's all this like bloviating about science and discovery, and it just seems like he's just a complete and total dilettante. And you have these people fawning over him, right? Or like when he says something kind of gross or perverted in one of the emails, people just ignore it. They're like, that's just Jeff, And it's just like it what really struck me at the heart of it. There's a lot here, obviously, but is how unimpressive everyone in it looked to me. Just deeply unimpressive, unserious human beings.
Put it back up. The dumb truth about the dumb truth at the heart of the Epstein scandal with QAnon, when QAnon meets Veep. Wow, I can't wait to read that. I haven't had the opportunity to read it because I've been sitting in front of this computer and camera creating content all day. Sure. But I'm glad that you wrote it. Did you have the opportunity to listen to any of the conversation I had with Michael?
I only caught like the last minute or two. But we one of our reporters at the Atlantic just published an email interview with him as well. He seems to sort of just was this sort of what he said, where he's like, this is just what good journalists do, is they ingratiate themselves with their sources, and like you might not like it, but that's what it looks like. Is that what he said?
Yeah. Well, I think here's what I think. In a way, there's truth to that, depending on the type of journalism that you're in. If you are writing a tome or a salacious sort of book like that, then I think the rules are different than if you work for 60 Minutes or if you work for the New York Times, or I think those things are different. Or if you work for, let's say MSNBC or CNN, I think it's a different standard. But if you work with a book and you're trying to extract information in a tell-all or an unauthorized biography, then I'm not so much for the big capital J journalism, because I just think that's a whole different thing for me. Now the whole thing about giving someone advice, that's a little. However, you have to do what you have to do to get interviews. People have try to get interviews from me all the time and butter me up about things and promise me things, and doesn't mean I'm going to do the interview, but I know what they're doing.
I think that there is like an understanding in these worlds, right? I mean, there is this interviewing and journalism is this very odd. It's a lot that's been written about it, obviously, but it's this very odd thing, right? Because as the journalist, you're sort of like, I'm always thinking to myself, like, why is anyone interested in talking to me about difficult, subjects, right? So you have this sort of interesting dynamic to begin with, and there is a lot of in these circles, like kind of horse trading, or like source greasing, as they call it. I think you live by that and you die by that, right? Because I think like one truism of the 21st century is that, like, you know how people say like the truth wants to be free, or, you know, is always trying to be free. Emails are always trying to be public, man. Like, like that is just something that is very, very common. And I think what is very disheartening about this, right? Whether I am not here to like cast, you know, my moral judgment on this, but we're at a time with institutions broadly and, you know, leaders and authority figures and whatnot, right? Gatekeepers of all kinds, where there is just so little trust. There is so little trust in institutions, whether that be the New York Times or the CDC or politicians or whatever it is, right? And what these emails felt like they showed to me, they felt like they demonstrated like the final nail in the coffin of all of that. Like, there's all these people who should be operating, or people think are operating on a different level, right? Should have a little more integrity, should have a little more whatever. You have a now former New York Times journalist saying like, hey, Jeff, just so you know, people are like, other people are trying to dig up dirt on you, right? Like, it's not clear whether he's referencing other New York Times journalists or whatever, but it's this idea of sort of putting the source relationship over, you know, the sort of what you're there to do, right? Which is to comfort,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, but honestly, I got to tell you, there's some truth to what he's saying. You people do what they have to do to get interviews, and it's really all about the person who gets the interview. You know what I mean? If you get the interview, then you've made the score, and as long as you extract the right information out of it, and once you do speak to them, you get if you're in the interview, you ask the tough questions.
Yeah,
Not paying people, but you got to say, hey, look, man, I love your work and you do great work and blah, blah, blah. You should come on because, you know, we're going to treat you right. And I think it's going to be a happy experience for you that you're not going to get somewhere else because they're going to treat you like shit and they're biased over there. I mean, all those things. And you know what I mean? And they may say, well, what would you do? Well, I don't know. What would you do in this situation? Well, look, I can't tell you what to do, but here's what I would do. Right. And I'm sure people do that shit all the time. That's how it works. He's not lying.
No, I think this is, it's all very difficult, right? Because like clearly what he is trying to do, Michael seems to me, I don't know him personally at all, but seems to me like someone who will, you know, kind of like smile while stabbing a source in the back, right? like he seems to be in a way that is, I guess you like sort of gotta respect it, right? Like he wants to take down Donald Trump. And so like some of those emails are like, you know, pre the Donald Trump presidency, I'm trying to take this guy down. So there's like a you know, an honesty and a pragmatism to that. Right. But then there's also, you know, there's also just this notion that when you start playing those games, it's really easy to serve yourself more than you're serving your audience and your readers, right? Like there is information. This guy, the former New York Times journalist who the paper seems to have parted ways with because he was overly close to Epstein or like soliciting charitable donations from him, something like that, I think. It's very clear that like in this whole source greasing process, whatever, right? Like trying to get the big story or whatnot, or just getting closer to this person in power, hoping that maybe something comes from that. You can spin that as like, I am just trying to get the story. I'm trying to do the thing. And it might not look pretty, but you know, in the end, the juice will be worth the squeeze. Seems like a lot of shit that he just didn't write about Epstein, right? Like there's some like reporting stuff that's in there, right? Like stuff about Trump and his relationship with Epstein that the New York Times could have reported back in 2019 or whenever he was going and doing that, working for the New York Times. And it's not the New York Times fault, right? That they didn't see this. They don't monitor the emails of all of their reporters or anything like that. But he was serving himself over the audience, right? Over the journalistic duty to report some of that stuff at an important moment. And so I think that's where the slope becomes really slippery. Like I understand having to do, you know, what you got to do to get the big story, but it's, you know, it's unclear how much of that is just like that ingratiation to the source can sort of spin out of control. And then at the end of the day, you sort of like don't know who you're really doing the writing and reporting for.
Yeah. Wow. There's so much to talk about. We went a little bit long. Charlie, if you will put up with me, because I want to ask you something that's tech related, which is what you really cover. And I'm sure you have seen this thing going around. But first, let me get a word in, and then we'll come back and we're going to talk about some tech issues that are real. It's a really important thing.
Sure.
Support comes from Ali. Now, you all know that I love my dogs. They're my family, and I want them to be healthy, happy, and full of life. That is why I switched them to Ali. It's fresh human-grade dog food, real protein, real ingredients, slow-cooked, and my dogs absolutely love it, even my picky one. So I have noticed real changes, too. Better digestion, more energy, shinier coats. Just take their quick quiz. They make a plan for your dog, and it gets delivered right to your door. The Ali app even lets you talk to experts about your dog's health. So here's what you do. If you want a really healthy pup, good nutrition, shiny coats, all of that, the tail wags, the little doggy grins, go to ollie.com/lemon and use the code lemon for 60% off of your first box. And they have a happiness guarantee. If you're not satisfied, you're going to get your money back. That's ollie.com/lemon. Support comes from Cozy Earth. You know that moment during the holidays when the lights are low, the music is soft, and the house finally feels calm, and the holiday lights from the tree or the menorah that's going, and maybe a fire. That is the Cozy Earth feeling. Their sheets are made from viscose from bamboo, and they help you sleep cooler and more comfortably. I slept on them last night. It was great. I have given Cozy Earth as gifts, and people love them. They come with a 100-night sleep trial and a 10-year warranty. I mean, that is how confident they are about all of this. Right now, you can stack my code DON on top of Cozy Earth's early Black Friday sale for up to 40% off. Go to CozyEarth.com and use the code DON. Start your holiday shopping with something people will actually enjoy. That is CozyEarth.com and use the code DON. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Okay, Charlie, welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
I want to play something. This one, let's play this one first. I'm going to give it to you. Sorry, Andy. I'm doing this on the fly. I'm doing this to my producer, Andy. I don't know how long it'll take him to get this in, but I want you to see this, and then we're going to talk about the other thing that has gone viral. But this one comes from the first AI thing that I want to talk to you about. Is it comes from a political campaign down in Georgia. And you know John Ossoff is, right? Mm-hmm. So John Ossoff is running in the state Senate race in Georgia. And then he's up against this guy, I think his name is Mike Collins. And Mike Collins put out this fake AI video. Well, it's a real video, but it's AI. It's not John Ossoff. And he's saying, hey, you know, John Ossoff is saying things that he didn't necessarily say. Here it is, and then I'll get your response.
John Ossoff, I just voted to keep the government shut down. They say it'll hurt farmers, but I wouldn't know. I've only seen a farm on Instagram. And SNAP recipients don't think they're at my New York or California fundraisers. So who cares? Chuck Schumer said it was a good idea, and I could never say no to my boss.
And there are a number of them like that. And they actually met to try to have this outlawed in their state legislature, but I don't think it passed, or they ran out of time. I forget exactly the exact context around it. What do you think? Does that make you uncomfortable? Should that be allowed?
No, yeah. I mean, it's AI slop, right? This stuff is, I think, just like a real plague right now. I am not so concerned about it from the sense of like a lot of people worry about deep fakes in this notion of like people are going to be so duped, right? They're going to think that so-and-so is saying this. And I do think that people are being fooled right now.
There are people who think that. It's 100%. Been reported. Yeah.
It's new enough, right? It's new enough that it is fooling people. It is going to get better. I do think, though, as a society, as a culture, we do sort of develop a BS detector for this stuff, right? Like we start to second guess it. It takes time for society to sort of inoculate itself against some of this stuff. But where I think it actually is like cancerous to our discourse and our politics and all of that is that this stuff is so cheap and easy to make and good enough and very like eye-catching, right? Like even if you can immediately recognize it, you're like, oh man, they put out this like, they're trying to deep fake the senator to try to get him to say these things. It's very like attentionally, it's like attention catnip. And these tools are being used all the time, flooding the internet, flooding these platforms to intensify these divides that already exist among us, right? Like our politics, our discourse, it's awful. It's been awful for a long time. It makes everyone feel like crap. It is just this darkness, right? And we have all of a sudden had this tool dropped in our laps where propagandists, influencers, like, clickbait, rage addicts, whatever it is, can just start to pump this crap into the, conversational bloodstream, the discourse of all of us. And we're gonna suffer from it, right? And this is just gonna like allow the worst shock jocks and propagandists and politicians to, make, pennies on the dollar off of all of this stuff. And for what, right? So I that's what I think is the real thing that like I want these companies, these social networks, these AI companies to answer for, because I think that is unforgivable.
Do you think it's censorship to outlaw it, or perhaps it should have like something on it that says AI, these ads?
I think it just depends on who's doing it, right? Like I think if you are a PAC or a political candidate or someone like that, like absolutely, like 100% you should. I mean, like that's just one thing that I think is really interesting. I was talking to someone about this who's in the AI like regulator kind of space, and before the administration changed, Lena Khan was saying at the FTC that like there are all sorts of scam and fakery rules on the books that are old, right? Mm-hmm. And they all should apply to AI. Like there's no reason that they are all retroactively or forwardly applied to this. And now we have a new administration, different enforcement and stuff. But yeah, there are rules here to not dupe people, right? Especially when it comes to politics, and those should just be enforced.
This woman, Susie, says boomers don't. Can you back up to the last one? She said something that boomers are not computer savvy or whatever, or tech savvy. Boomers who aren't computer savvy with sight loss will believe AI. That's what Susie Jack says. But we can move on unless you want to respond to that.
No, go ahead.
All right. So this is the one I really want to discuss with you. And it's a little bit of a longer one, and it's controversial here. Now, I want you guys who are watching to tell me, would you do this with a loved one? Because I think that I might. I think that I might do it, but this is controversial for some folks who thinks like, oh my gosh, no, this is blasphemous or whatever. Here it is. Play it.
He's getting bigger. See?
Oh, honey, that's wonderful.
Kicking like crazy.
He's listening. Put your hand on your tummy and hum to him. You used to love that.
It feels like he's dancing in there.
Oh, honey.
Mom, would you tell Charlie that bedtime story you always used to tell me?
Once upon a time, there was a baby unicorn who didn't know he knew how to fly. This baby unicorn was like your mom because she didn't know that she knew how to fly, but she knew how to do all kinds of fabulous things.
Hi, Grandma.
Hey, Charlie. How was school today?
It was really fun. I made this crazy shot in basketball.
I don't really care that much about basketball. What about the crush?
Stop. Grandma, stop talking.
Just tell me one thing.
Look who's gonna be a great grandmother.
Oh, Charlie. Oh, congratulations.
She says that he's been kicking a lot, though. Like, a little too much.
Tell her to put her hand on her tummy and hum to him. You loved that.
You would have loved this moment.
You can call anytime.
Okay, Mom, I just need a quick video.
Is this like an audition or something?
No, Mom. Just 3 minutes.
You need my best side?
Can I see another one?
I can play the piano.
She's so talented.
I am. I'm your mother after all.
Keep going. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I was born as a very young child.
I would hope so.
Go ahead, Charlie.
No, bad. I saw this yesterday. Listen. Things need to end, like, right? Like, we need, like, TV shows, also human beings, like, things like, I understand it's very, very human, right? It's very, very human to want to preserve the memories of loved ones. Like, I understand the impulse at this, right? This is not an evil impulse necessarily. That's me being generous. But I think that, like, this is trapping grandma in, like, a never-ending digital torment nexus so that you can have her forever on your phone is not really, like, a healthy way to grieve. And I think that I really think that we're in this moment with artificial intelligence, this sort of, like, boom and kind of FOMO. I think it's like a hype bubble a little bit, where people are not thinking, they're just doing. They're shooting first and asking questions later, or coming up with the roadmap or whatever. I think this is really turning a lot of people off. Like, I just looking at the comments, I mean, I don't even see a positive one. And I think that people are right. It just seems really exploitative. I'm not being as strong as I think. Like, I hate it. I hate it.
No, I saw your expression.
Kill it with fire. Kill it with fire.
Kill it in the crib.
I do want to talk. I am actually. I reached out to the person who created this is a like a former Disney Channel star.
It's like 2WAI, two-way AI, two-Y.
Yeah, one of the guys who started it is a Disney Channel star.
Yes. Actually, my friend told me about it. He said, a friend of mine created this clip, is going viral. It was a former Disney star.
Yeah.
He says. Yeah.
So I mean, listen, I actually, like, I reached out. I want to interview them fairly, and just, like, I want to hear it. I want to hear the pitch. I want to hear the, like, why, but I think it is really turned people off. And I agree with that sentiment.
Okay, Charlie, you're not going to like it. I don't know. I might do it. I said, because I like, okay, let me just explain this. I've had a loss of family members the past couple of years. I've lost both of my sisters, and they were older than me. They're older than me, but barely. I mean, one was 5 years and one was 7 years. And so those are the people I have, like, the most, like, the longest memory, right? Goes with my sisters, who taught me things, and, having conversations with me and protecting me and all those things. And so it's weird. Like, when something happens, I want to pick up the phone and call her. Or if I hear a song from the 1970s, or, something that we used to dance to in the living room, I can't call them anymore, or I can't text them anymore and say, oh my God, do you remember this song when we used to pretend we were the Jackson 5 in our living room and blah, blah, blah. I still have my mom, fortunately, but, so I might want to, pick up the phone and say, oh man, I wish you were here. I know you're not real, but I just wanted some advice from you, to hear from you. I don't know.
And that's very human. We're getting a little out of my realm, but from my personal experience, I've dealt with some grief in my life, and something that helped me through it a lot was something someone told me about grief being sort of instead of sadness, it's like the excess of the love that, like, the window closed on you being able to give it to that other person. Right.
Yeah.
So it's this notion of, like, I had a lifetime's worth of love to give whomever, right? They pass away, and it's like, oh, the window for you, it was smaller than, so everything that's left over, that excess. And so to think of it in that way, and all I'm going to say is, going through that process with myself of thinking of it that way, conceptualizing it, reckoning with it, like, I don't think anything has ever, as me personally, made me, like, transformed me more, or helped me sort of, like, it's such like a basic, wonderful human experience to go through, even though it's so excruciating and terrible and sad. And I think that that's, like, the building blocks of being a fully three-dimensional human, a good person, someone who gets, better with with age and wiser and all of those things. Like, that's living. That's what we're here on Earth to do. And this is one of the things that bothers me with some of these AI tools, right? Which is like, it's sort of asking you to put living on easy mode. And I don't think
I feel you.
should go towards
But
that.
I know it's not real. I mean, I'm not one of the, I would not have a synthetic relationship with the thing. It's just every once in a while. Like, for me, it would preserve, like, when my sister was in the hospital and they preserved her heartbeat so I can go back and listen to her heartbeat, that kind of thing. So I get it. I completely get it. And people are concerned with synthetic relationships right now. But is artificial intelligence really artificial? Because, maybe artificial intelligence is the higher power that everybody's searching for. I don't know.
It gets philosophical really quick in this world, like people say, oh, this is like just AI is just like fancy autocomplete. And then there's people who say like, well, what are our brains doing? Isn't that also just a really, really high level autocomplete? So it gets philosophical quick.
That's
Listen,
what I'm saying.
It's an interesting thing.
And be so quick to poo-poo going to the moon. I'm just saying, even though we know it happened in a Hollywood studio, I'm just saying. I'm kidding. I do not believe that. I do not believe that. I think it really happened. What about you? You think the moon landing happened?
Yeah, I'm pro moon landing.
Okay.
I'm pro. I do think that everyone needs to have a low stakes conspiracy theory that doesn't hurt other people that they believe in. I think that's just good. I think it's probably that Pink Floyd made Dark Side of the Moon to sync up with Wizard of Oz. Like, they deny it, but I believe that it's true.
I have people who believe that Charlie Kirk is still alive.
Whoa, that's intense.
That's an intense one. Okay, so Charlie Warzel, Atlantic's brand new Galaxy Brain podcast. Can we talk about that? I started listening to it today. I didn't get all the way through it because, as I said, I sit in front of this computer and camera and make content all day. But it sounds pretty fascinating because the conversations, you're right, the conversations that I have, and oftentimes, Charlie, we put them here on the show in our private streams that I have with my producers and people who are fascinating conversations that I would love to be able to have with other people or have other people hear them. And you're doing that through your podcast, which is, I think, a brilliant idea.
Yeah, I found that in my reporting, like, I will have this really long, like, it's not that like I'm like censoring what's happening, right? It's like you talk to like an expert on something, right? And you'll go on all these long tangents, and I'll hang up the phone and be like, I wish everyone could have heard all of that, right? Not just the piece that is going to fit into my article and make, sense as like a piece of that. So yeah, that was sort of the genesis of it. And I also I think it's really important to just be like describing, like, we're all swimming in all this technology, right? Like, I think of it as like it's the water in our aquarium tank that we're all swimming in, and it's like we don't necessarily know, the temperature. We don't know a lot about it. And I think it's good to interrogate that. Like, I think we need to be paying a lot of attention to where we pay attention. That's sort of the catchphrase and tagline of the show. And so I just want to have smart people on.
What do you mean?
I am a real believer that the most valuable resource that we have now is attention, right? Like, it is, I mean, if you look at you and me, we're in competition with Netflix and, the phone that's ringing, all your text messages, Instagram reels, like every single thing, every politician, like everyone, because of the internet, is on this flat sort of playing field of, we only have so many minutes in the day. We need to get people to care. We need to get people animated. We need to get people, activated to do whatever it is, right? And I think that because of that, our attention is being manipulated all the time. Someone said pornography. Yeah, we're competing with Pornhub, like 100%, right? All the time. And so
I'm just competing with OnlyFans, but that's okay.
Hey, I mean, who isn't? But so as a result of that, we're being manipulated in all these different ways. And I think it's really important to be assessing that, interrogating that all the time, talking to people who are really good at it and talking to people who reject it and talking to, I think it's like the fact that, you know, you can have this show and operate it exactly the way that you want to do it. And, you know, you're running your own business in this way that, you know, wouldn't have been capable 10 years ago, probably, right? That has altered the state of media. That's how people consume this, where they're consuming it. I want to unpack all of those different things and talk about it, and talk about what that's doing to us. What opportunities is it giving us? What is it, you know, leaving behind? Are there negative things? Are manipulators doing it better than the good faith actors? You know, so we just want to get like the smartest people in the room all the time and just talk about it, and you know, pay attention to where we pay attention.
Finally, a podcast that I can listen to other than the Don Lemon Show. But let me say,
like and subscribe, please.
Yes, like and subscribe to Galaxy Brain.
Yes.
Right.
Please. Yeah. We're on YouTube, and then all the other, you know, podcast places. But
do you believe the internet is a misery machine?
I think it's become one. Unfortunately, I think it's partly because of these types of algorithms. I mean, if you think about the way I have an interview coming up with this guy, Elliot Higgins, from this. He's an investigative journalist, and he has this whole theory of how our discourse got so like broken, right? And there's this notion that, you know, in order to have like a functioning democracy, we need to understand and agree on what's true. We need to be able to debate freely those things in order to prove what is true. And then we need to use what is true to hold people to account. And without anything that makes any of those things harder starts to degrade our discourse a little bit, to the point where this Elliot Higgins argues we are living in a simulated democracy right now. And this gets back, just to tie it all in a bow, to this like Epstein thing, right? Which is this notion of, can people be held to account, right? Or are we all sort of pretending like we are participating, right? We're all screaming about this thing, but the democratic process is so broken, the discourse around it's so broken that, you know, we're going to see all these links, all these things that should, you know, with Donald Trump and his, you know, connections to Epstein, that should be investigated in this way, that should, you know, cause him to have to scramble. And maybe that doesn't happen, right? Maybe there is no accountability. When you lose that accountability, when people feel like they're just simulating, right? I think they start to believe that they are powerless and they check out. And that's the absolute worst thing. So these are like the types of topics we're going to start to get into and talk to. And I just want to empower people to like see where they exist in all of this, be able to make the decisions, like when they're on, you know, their phones or whatever, and they're like, why? I am getting like mad. Like I am getting really mad. Like, is that a natural thing, or is somebody manipulating me into getting mad and becoming the worst version of myself?
It's manipulation, I believe. And you said a simulated democracy, or is it an AI democracy? I'm just saying, you never know. But you know what? You're right. Here's the interesting thing to me. When I work with the young folks who do social and do digital, like the things that I do now, because I've been in legacy media for a long time, you know, since the 90s. The things that I can do now live and go live and present a show, whatever, would not have been possible. And it used to take, you know, 50, 60, 70 people to put on a show. And I have a staff of 4 or 5 people. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of, it's crazy. It is crazy. And I mean, when are the networks going to get that? Like, you don't need, I'm not suggesting anybody lose their jobs, but you just don't need that many people. I'm just, you know,
it's wild. I mean, it's allowed for a lot of really good things to happen. A lot of, you know, extreme, like it's empowered a lot of people in this great way. It's also added a ton of chaos to the system, right? And we are like dealing with all of that right now, right? The shock jocks versus the people who are actually trying to do some good in the world. And, you know, we're going to see where it all shakes out. But I just want to give people the tools with this podcast to, and with all my work, to just sort of feel like they are oriented in all this, right? Like they're just able to, it's the compass, right? What direction am I pointing in? We're not telling you where to go. We're just telling you this is maybe where you are in relation to some of these things.
Check out Charlie Warzel on the Galaxy Brain podcast, right? And where else can we get you?
You can find me. I'm on Blue Sky, CWarzL, Instagram at CWarzL. But really, go to your podcast app, Galaxy Brain. Go on YouTube, type in Galaxy Brain. The first episode's up. I'm really proud of it, and the other ones we got coming, I think, are going to be really fantastic. So, thank you.
You need to become a special correspondent, tech correspondent for the Don Lemon Show. We like that. Okay.
All right, man.
Thank you, Charlie. Be well. Have a great weekend. Best of luck with the podcast.
Adios.
Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
man.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay. Speaking of liking and following and all of that, go to donlemon.com. If you want to know anything about the show, that's where we are. Go check out Charlie Warzel's show as well. It's important that you support independent journalists, independent media, or people who are in this digital space. But we're on the Don Lemon, donlemon.com. You see that's where our main page is, which is that little arrow. That's YouTube. You can become a member or you can subscribe. Subscriptions are free. Also, we're on Twitch. That's our newest platform that we're on. So go check out the Twitch and you'll see. See, we're just delayed on Twitch. Hi, Twitch. Hello, Lemonhead, Lemon Nation on Twitch. Good to see you guys. Happy Friday. And you can check out our merch store too at donlemon.com and get all the fancy things. I do not have the glass today. I don't know why. My husband made me a cocktail and he did not bring the Don Lemon Show glass. Instead, he brought our fancy glasses that we use for cocktails. See how that different colors? And this is, you can see the salt on the rim. So take a good long guess as to what this is. You love the sound of ice cubes. I don't know if you can hear them. Anyways, so go check that out. When's the Christmas stuff going to go up? I don't know. It's after today. Yeah, we need to get the Christmas stuff. We have bulbs and what else? What do you call it? Not a Yeti. Pajama pants, thermos, a Stanley, or whatever those things are. We got some Christmas stuff for you. Okay, guys. Thank you so much. We have no merch photos, right?
We do. We have 3.
Or we do. We have 3 merch photos. Okay, what do we have? Oh, people be knowing. Yes.
Dr. Rakim.
Dr. Rakim. Dr. Rakim is beautiful, gorgeous lady, and old people be knowing. She's not old, though. She'll be knowing soon, but she's not old. Thank you, Doctor, for supporting the Don Lemon Show. Oh, look at that hat.
Renee from DC.
Hi, Renee from DC. Renee from DC. Beautiful, great smile. And yes, love the hat. Thank you for your support, Renee. I hope it warmed up there. It was freezing when we were there. Oh, my gosh. Who's this little? Oh, my. Limon Nation,
Shauna.
baby. Shauna in front of the fireplace. And wait a minute. With me drinking, that was just yesterday or the day before. Amazing. Look at that cutie patootie right there. We need to get like some pajamas for him.
Oh, I've been told this is a video. Ready?
Let's see.
It's okay, baby. That's Don Lemon, baby. The Don Lemon Show is on.
This is a very serious story. And remember?
That's amazing. Oh, thank you guys. Thank you. What's her name again? Shauna?
Shauna. I don't know if that's the baby or the person who sent the video.
Well, they're all amazing and gorgeous. Thank you for your support. Okay. Appreciate it. Man, that warms my heart. If you have any of the merch or a photo or a video like that, send it to the Don Lemon Show at gmail.com. Should we play the song for people today? It's Friday. I think we should play the song. I think we want to hear it. Do we want the edited version or the extended version?
I mean,
the original or the extended? I think we play the extended.
Yeah, extended.
Yeah, extended. Let's go.
It's the Don Lemon Show. It's the Don Lemon Show. He's unmasking the truth. He don't take no shit. It's the Don Lemon Show. Don Lemon. Don. Release the Epstein files. You better release those Epstein files. You better release those Epstein files. If you don't release them, you're a pussy. Better release the Epstein files. Trump is a pussy ass bitch.
I hope Shauna's baby or the baby Shauna wasn't there listening to that. Thank you, guys. I'll see you back here sometime soon. I may pop in this weekend. And otherwise, I'll see you back here at 10 a.m. Eastern time on Monday morning. Have a fantastic weekend. Be safe. Have a good time. Hug your loved ones. And remember, nothing is worth losing your cool over. Some things you just have to do. Like our forever president, Barack Obama, said, you just have to be informed without being inundated. Turn the TV off. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a show. We're live every weekday at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern time with new clips dropping at 2 p. and 8 p. And if you want even more Don Lemon Show content, join the Lemon community. Members get exclusive posts, behind-the-scenes videos, and live chats just for you. So hit the join button or visit our channel page to sign up. Thanks again for all your love and your support, and I'll see you next time.